beneath the veneer of skepticism, reality bears witness to chilling truths. In the haunting corridors of history, where shadows dance with undeniable evidence, remember this, the stories are true. Prepare for a revelation. Where the supernatural is stripped of fiction and the unknown is laid bare, are you ready to confront the undeniable? The stories are true, and the echoes of reality await.
The Tower of London has been a notorious prison for nearly 1,000 years. Many famous people lost their heads within its walls. Anne Boleyn, the second wife of Henry VIII, was beheaded at the Tower in 1536. Her restless spirit is said to wander the grounds, clutching her severed head to her side. Other ghostly prisoners have been seen and heard wailing and roaming aimlessly as ghosts are known to do. The Tower is considered one of the most haunted places in London, with countless reports of apparitions over the centuries. Visitors have claimed to see the ghosts of Anne Boleyn, Lady Jane Grey, and other historical figures who met tragic ends within the Tower's confines. The unfortunate Guy Fawkes was imprisoned and likely tortured on the rack in the White Tower dungeons after his failed gunpowder plot to assassinate King James I in 1605. Some believe his agonized screams can still be heard echoing through the thick stone walls. In a particularly chilling tale, a soldier in 1679 reported seeing a procession of ghostly knights and ladies passing through the chapel, led by the headless spectre of Anne Boleyn herself. He had climbed to look through the window after noticing a mysterious light burning inside the locked chapel, where Anne was laid to rest after her execution. The young King Henry VI was imprisoned in the Wakefield Tower, where he was murdered at midnight in 1471 while kneeling at the altar of the king's private chapel. His ghost is thought to materialize in the Wakefield Tower every year on the anniversary of his death. In the 13th century, King Henry III kept a menagerie of exotic animals in the Tower grounds, including lions, leopards, pumas, tigers, and even an elephant and polar bear sent from abroad as gifts. The popular blood sport of bear baiting was carried out for entertainment in those days. Perhaps it is the restless spirit of one of those tormented bears that is said to appear from behind the door of the Jewel Room or near the Martin Tower as a shaggy black apparition glimpsed in 1816. The dashing Sir Walter Raleigh was imprisoned in the Bloody Tower for over 13 years by both Elizabeth I and James I. He attempted suicide during this final confinement in the Beauchamp Tower before being executed outside the Palace of Westminster. In 1957, a Welsh guard encountered a strange, faceless female form at the Salt Tower, possibly one of the many tragic women who suffered within these walls over the ages. Like the infamous Anne, the elderly Margaret Pole, Countess of Salisbury, was beheaded on the Tower Green in 1541 on Henry VIII's orders, simply for being the mother of a man who opposed the king's break with the Catholic Church. Her awful, drawn-out execution at the hands of an inept executioner is said to be relived each night as her anguished screams resound through the towers. On another dark occasion, a yeoman warder, one of the Tower's famous Beefeater guards, was seen charging his bayonet at a ghostly white female figure in the courtyard where Anne Boleyn met her end. The 9 days Queen Lady Jane Grey was executed alongside her husband in 1554 after briefly being put on the throne by devious advisers of the late King Edward VI. Jane's innocence and pitifully brief taste of power make her one of the Tower's most tragic figures. It is said her pale form can be seen keeping a silent vigil along the battlements where she was put to death.
In the corridors, you may hear the unmistakable sound of sandals slapping against the stone, the footsteps of a ghostly monk who once walked these halls when the Tower contained a religious order.
The melancholy Arbella Stuart, cousin of Elizabeth I, haunts the Queen's house where she was imprisoned and starved by paranoid King James for daring to marry without his approval. And in the most heartbreaking tale, the small skeletons of the 2 young princes in the Tower, the sons of Edward IV, who were imprisoned by their monstrous uncle, were found buried unceremoniously beneath a stairwell. The pitiful child ghosts of Edward V and Richard are said to continue their horrifying, unending confinement in the place of their murder. But perhaps most chilling of all is the presence of the Nameless Thing, a primordial, malevolent force far older than any of the tower's other wretched spectral inhabitants. This formless being is reported to trail and menace the night guards as they walk their river entrance route, as if some unspeakable evil still haunts the most ancient grounds of this dreadful place. The secret of its foulness is one few dare contemplate.
Thanks for joining us on this eerie adventure. If you enjoyed the chills, don't forget to subscribe. More mysteries await. Until next time, thanks for watching and stay curious.